Hi, this is Dan Wickware. In this session, we're going to look at question number 198 in my book, 200 Questions About the Bible and the Quran. Did Solomon actually gather together an army of demons, humans, and birds to do battle? No, according to the Bible, but yes, in the Quran. Where it asks the word demons there, the Arabic name for demons is jinn. So we'll be talking about these. 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4 is a warning against believing in fables. It says, don't give heed to fables and endless genealogies which cause disputes rather than godly sanctification, which is in faith. And again in chapter 4, verse 7 of 1 Timothy, it says, refuse old fables, refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness. 2 Timothy 4:4, they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. Titus 1:14, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men who turn from the truth. And then one more, 2 Peter 1:16, for we did not follow cunningly devised fables when we made known to you the power and the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. So here's 5 different verses in the Injil, in the New Testament, which warn believers not to give heed to fables. When we come to the Quran, in Neml 27:16-20, we see this story about Solomon gathering together an army of demons, jinn, humans, and birds to do battle. And in verse 16, Solomon was David's heir, and he said, O mankind, we have been taught the language of birds and have been given abundance of all things. This is surely evident favor. And there were gathered together unto Solomon and his armies of the jinn and humankind and of the birds, and they were set in battle order, till when they reached the valley of the ants, the ant exclaimed, O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Solomon and his armies crush you unperceiving. And Solomon smiled, laughing at her speech, and said, My Lord, arouse me to be thankful for your favor, wherewith you have favored me and my parents. And he sought among the birds and said, How is it that I see not the hoopie, or is he among the absent? Now, notice that there is no such story like this in the Bible, but there are the warnings that I read earlier about the believers not giving heed to Jewish fables. The story about King Solomon and the hoopie bird and the Queen of Sheba in Neml 24:15-44 is a Jewish fable taken from the second Targum of Esther around the second century A.D. Now, the Quran denies that it contains fables. There are 9 different places in the Quran where Muhammad claimed that he was not using fables as he was charged by the Jews and the Christians. They accused him in 9 different places. Anfal 8:31, Enam 6:25, Nal 16:24, Mu'minun 23:83, Furqan 25:4 and 5, Neml 27:68, Akaf 46:17, Kalem 68:15, Mutafikin 83:13-14. These are 9 different places in the Quran where the Quran denies, where Muhammad denies that he was using fables, as he was accused of doing by the Jews and the Christians. However, if you look at my book called The Wickware Compendium of Islam, which you can see at danwickware.com, pages 304-309, I give you 25 examples of known fables which are used in the Quran. And so you can see this. You can download that book and see it right there on my website, danwickwire.com. You know, there is a verse in the Qur'an, in Enam 693, and this is what it says. Who is guilty of more wrong than he who forges a lie against Allah or says, I am inspired, when he's not inspired in anything? Well, the Bible warns against listening to fables. These are stories. These are not history. They are largely taken from Jewish sources, and the Bible warns at least 5 times in the New Testament not to listen to this kind of stuff. So the question is this: did Solomon actually gather together an army of demons or jinn, humans and birds to do battle? No, in the Bible, but yes, in the Quran.